It was a cold and dreary evening when Adam stood at the edge of the old weathered bridge. The distant howl of wind echoed through the barren trees, sending a chill down his spine. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, though he wasn't sure exactly what it was. The bridge had been abandoned for years, but there was something about it tonight, something that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Adam had always believed in logic, in reason. He'd spent his life making careful, calculated decisions, convinced that each choice led him down a predictable path. But as he stared at the broken structure before him, he felt the weight of a decision that could change everything. His phone buzzed in his pocket, pulling him from his thoughts. A message appeared on the screen, sent from an unknown number. One choice, one path. Choose wisely. His heart skipped a beat. He thought about ignoring the message, dismissing it as a prank. But deep down he knew something was different. The message was too timely, too specific. Adam had been struggling for months with a decision that would affect the rest of his life. It was a choice he didn't want to make, yet couldn't avoid. The decision was simple on the surface. Stay in his safe, predictable job, where he had a steady paycheck and a comfortable life, or take a leap of faith and follow his passion, something he'd dreamed of for years but never dared to pursue. He had always been told that security was more important than ambition. But what if this was his chance to break free? What if this was his only shot at happiness? With a deep breath, Adam made his decision. He would quit his job and follow his passion. He pressed the send button on his resignation letter, his fingers trembling with both excitement and fear. The moment the email was sent, the weight that had been pressing on his chest for so long seemed to lift, even though the uncertainty of the future loomed ahead. But as he stepped away from the bridge and headed back toward his car, he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The air had grown colder, and the faint sound of footsteps behind him made his pulse race. He turned, expecting to see someone following, but the road was empty. A shiver ran down his spine, and he quickened his pace, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. That night, as he lay in bed, Adam tossed and turned. His mind raced, replaying the events of the day over and over again. Had he made the right decision? Was this really what he wanted, or had he just succumbed to the pressure of an impulsive choice? His phone buzzed again. Your fate is sealed. The consequences are coming. Adam stared at the screen, his fingers gripping the phone tightly. The message sent a wave of dread through him, as if the words themselves were a warning. But from whom? And why now? He tried to shake off the feeling, telling himself it was just his overactive imagination. But as the clock ticked past midnight, he couldn't ignore the growing sense that something was watching him, waiting for him to realize the true cost of his decision. The next few days were a blur of excitement and anxiety. Adam handed in his resignation and began pursuing his passion, something he had always dreamed of: photography. The freedom of working on his own terms was exhilarating. But with it came challenges he hadn't expected. The money was tight, the clients were few, and the constant pressure to succeed began to gnaw at him. Every time he picked up his phone, he was met with strange messages. The clock is ticking. Every choice has a consequence. He tried to ignore them, chalking it up to some elaborate prank. But the feeling of being watched never left. Late at night, when he tried to focus on his photography, he felt the presence of someone, or something, lurking in the shadows. His once peaceful home was now filled with strange noises. Footsteps in the hallway when no one was there, whispers just beyond the threshold of his hearing. One evening, Adam received a phone call from an unknown number. His heart pounded in his chest as he answered. "Hello," he said, his voice shaking. There was a long pause before a distorted voice spoke, sending a chill down his spine. "Did you think you could change your fate so easily?" Adam's throat tightened. He wanted to hang up, to pretend it was just some sick joke, but something about the voice kept him rooted to the spot. "Who is this?" he demanded, his hands gripping the edge of the table. "You made your choice," the voice replied, "but choices come with a price. Your decision isn't just yours anymore. It affects everyone around you. Before Adam could respond, the call ended. His phone screen went black. Shaken, Adam went outside to clear his head. The air was thick with fog, and the streetlights cast eerie shadows on the pavement. He walked aimlessly, lost in thought, until he found himself back at the old bridge. The same bridge where everything had started. As he stood there, his phone buzzed again. Another message. Come back. The past never forgets. Without thinking, Adam walked across the bridge, drawn as if by some invisible force. His feet moved on their own, and before he knew it, he was standing in the middle of the bridge, looking out over the dark water below. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled, and the sound of rushing footsteps echoed through the fog. His heart raced as he turned to face the source of the noise. But no one was there. The whispers came again, louder this time, filling his ears with words he couldn't understand. They seemed to be coming from the depths of the water, from the very shadows themselves. His eyes darted frantically, but all he could see was the fog, thick and suffocating. Change your choices, change your fate. A voice croaked from behind him. Adam spun around, but no one was there. His breath came in ragged gasps as he tried to comprehend what was happening. Had he made a deal with something he couldn't control? The fear, the dread. He had felt it all before, and now it was closing in on him. Adam tried to return to his normal routine, but the unsettling events only intensified. His phone was bombarded with messages, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking just beyond his vision. His world was unraveling, and the strange presence that haunted him seemed to be growing stronger. He revisited the bridge, hoping for some kind of closure, but as he stepped onto the weathered wood, a deep voice echoed from the shadows. You thought you could escape it, didn't you? Adam froze. The voice was unmistakable. It was the same voice that had spoken to him during the phone call, but this time it was different. It was colder, darker, and more menacing. I made the right choice, Adam shouted, trying to muster courage. The voice laughed. It was a sound that sent ice through his veins. You can't escape your fate. It's already been sealed. Adam turned to run, but his legs felt heavy, as if the very earth was trying to hold him in place. The air was thick with tension, and every step he took felt like it was leading him deeper into an abyss. The whispers grew louder, and the fog seemed to close in on him. He couldn't see, couldn't think. All he could hear was the voice, telling him he was too late. The choice had already been made. As days passed, Adam's life spiraled further out of control. He lost clients, his photography career faltered, and the pressure of his decision began to suffocate him. No matter what he did, it felt like there was no escaping the shadow of his choice. He tried to find solace in friends, but even they seemed distant, as if they too were being affected by something he couldn't understand. The messages continued. Your fate is sealed. The past never forgets. One night, Adam received a letter, handwritten in an unfamiliar scrawl. The message inside was simple but chilling. You made your choice, now it's time to pay the price. The shadows are waiting. With trembling hands, Adam read the letter over and over again, each word sinking deeper into his soul. The voice, the warnings, the strange events, they were all connected. And no matter what he did, he couldn't escape the consequences. As days passed, Adam's life spiraled further out of control. He lost clients, his photography career faltered, and the pressure of his decision began to suffocate him. No matter what he did, it felt like there was no escaping the shadow of his choice. He tried to find solace in friends, but even they seemed distant, as if they too were being affected by something he couldn't understand. The messages continued. Your fate is sealed. The past never forgets. One night, Adam received a letter, handwritten in an unfamiliar scrawl. The message inside was simple but chilling. You made your choice, now it's time to pay the price. The shadows are waiting. With trembling hands, Adam read the letter over and over again, each word sinking deeper into his soul. The voice, the warnings, the strange events, they were all connected. And no matter what he did, he couldn't escape the consequences. As the days turned into weeks, Adam's sense of reality began to blur. His mind raced, trapped in a cycle of guilt, fear, and desperation. He returned to the bridge once more, drawn there by some force he couldn't explain. But this time he knew what he had to do. Standing at the center of the bridge, he whispered, "I'm sorry." The air grew still. The whispers faded. And then a figure emerged from the shadows. A figure from Adam's past, someone he thought he'd forgotten. The figure stepped closer, its face twisted in agony. "You can never escape your fate," the figure whispered. Adam understood then. The decision he had made wasn't just about his career. It was about something much darker. A choice that had changed not only his life, but the lives of those around him. As the figure reached out to touch him, Adam's vision went black. The screen fades to black.